Um, and yeah, we'll be sharing this recording with our audience, our members, on our communication platform. So look out for that in the next few days. And lastly, we'll be taking a quick photo at the end with our panelists and everybody here who would like to be in the photo. So and without further ado, I'm going to introduce the panelists, but let me just double check that Darian is not here. Okay, no problem. All right, so if Darian joins, we'll add him later on. But in the meantime, um, I'm gonna skip on Darian for now. But we'd like to introduce Jason Lee, who's a third-year medical student at the University of South Florida. He began creating content as a hobby and as a way to document his personal growth throughout medical school. And over time, it's become a platform through which he shares the realities of medical training, clinical learning, and personal development. And he has over 12,000 followers, subscribers on YouTube right now. And then Rachel Kim, who is an anesthesiology intern at UCLA. She started her YouTube channel and social media platforms to share her love of food, promote a healthy body image, and provide an authentic glimpse into life as a woman in medicine. And she has over 44,000 subscribers on YouTube and over 12,000 followers on Instagram. And last but not least, we have Alex Saw, who is a first-year ophthalmology resident at USC. He's a four-time aerospace medicine intern with NASA. And through social media, Alex documents his experiences in medicine with the goal of sharing the realities of training and encouraging others to appreciate and enjoy the journey. So, and he also has over 80,000 followers on Instagram and 15,000 subscribers on YouTube. So those are our panelists for today. I hope you guys are all excited to hear from our amazing panelists. So to start off with our first question, and this is open to everybody here, but what made you start creating content while already on a demanding path like medicine? And if anybody who wants to chime in first, feel free to do so.
I can go. Yeah, so I initially thought about running a YouTube channel where I can post these study with me videos because they're super easy to make. And then we're studying every day. So I thought maybe I could make a few bucks out of this. But obviously, I didn't know how hard it is to make money from content creation. But on a random occasion, I made a vlog about a time where I got stuck in the airport because of the Microsoft thing after coming back from an IU concert. That was my first time making a video, and I really liked the process of it, putting everything together. And I showed it to my parents, and my parents loved it. I've been away from my family for about 12, 13 years. I go back to see them every once a year or so, but and I try to like update them on how my life's going and everything. But it's very different hearing what's going on and then seeing what's going on. So my parents really loved it. They were saying like, "Oh, we put it on repeat at home all the time." So I continued making these vlogs about my life as a med student, and then I started getting a little more views. And I, my subscribers send me messages or comment on my videos saying how they get encouraged and inspired by the videos I post. Um, I'm very thankful for that, by the way. And so, yeah, so I saw the impact I could be making with my videos. So I continued to do so. And at the same time, all those encouraging messages and comments from my subscribers, that also helps me push through the hard track of medicine and training. So, and then it's also a good way for me to keep track of how I grow, because I think we can all agree that going through med school, we go through a lot and then it helps you grow or at least change in some ways. So I thought it was a good way for me to kind of keep track of how I grow as I progress through med school and then eventually residency and so forth. Yeah, so that's what got me into content creation.
That's awesome, Jason. And when did you start content creation? I'm not sorry if you mentioned it already.
No, it's around the start of my second year.
Oh, med school?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so not too long ago. Great. Um, Rachel or Alex, any answers to this question? Maybe we can do Rachel if that's sorry.
Sure, sorry. I just like I never know when the timing's right. Yeah, so I started creating content I think in 2020. It was like during COVID and your girl had like not a lot going on. So I was just like I've always been a big yapper, and so I think that's why YouTube kind of like stood out to me because I could kind of just ramble and say whatever I wanted to say. So I think my first, like, I didn't know what path I was going on, like, when I started social media, like, I didn't know it would pop off the way that it did. I think my first video was like an ASMR video. And like that's not like my primary content now, but like I look back and like there's a lot of funny moments and I think like it took me a while to find like what I really wanted to share, but as time went on, like when I was at Penn State in undergrad as a pre-med student, I was kind of sitting there and, I had struggled with eating disorders in high school and into college. And I think that that was something that I felt on my heart to like share with my viewers that, you can be this like small girl and like still eat a lot of food, like eat intuitively. You don't have to count all your calories and feel so guilty because that was something I'd really struggled with. And I hadn't seen a lot of like people in medicine really like talk about that from like a personal experience. And like I think sharing that with my audience allowed me to see that like I was not alone in that and that there were so many other people that were just like waiting for like someone else to kind of like talk about that too. And I think over time like my content has evolved into something more like just like sharing what my life is like as like my life isn't as like food centered as it like kind of used to be as like the first thing on my mind. Now I like see it as something that's just like something I really enjoy, like a hobby. But yeah, that's like what I initially thought of when I was like starting content creation.
It's awesome. I think you're like the definition of how you can transition in terms of like your overall theme in content creation. So and that shouldn't really deter you from starting, I guess. So yeah, and then Alex, if you don't mind.
Yeah, thanks all for joining. Yeah, just hearing Jason and Rachel's stories kind of makes me want to make more YouTube videos. But back in 2019, I was a second year in college, and I would always talk to my parents, and they always said that college and med school is going to go by in a blink of an eye. So I decided, you know what? I've been making videos since I was a kid. Might as well start putting them on YouTube somewhere. So, 20 November 2019, started making some videos here and there of just my college experience because I knew it was going to be go by. And then COVID hit, and we're not doing much. And I knew that college was pretty much over at that point. So I kept making videos, and then things got a little bit busier and busier. And then eventually I stopped making videos. Um, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later in future questions. But yeah, I stopped making videos, got a little bit busy, started focusing a little bit more on my academic journey. And then about a year ago, I matched into ophthalmology. And at that point in time, I was like, you know what? Making videos is something I really love. And short form content was something that was just doing a little bit better than my YouTube videos. So I decided, you know what? I'll post as much as I possibly can on Instagram. I was going through my NASA internships at that time too. I'm super passionate about space medicine as well as ophtho. So made some videos about that, and I knew that there was others out there that would resonate with it. So um, my channel has more evolved towards documenting the journey as well as providing some advice and things that I wish I knew 2 years ago, or even 8 years ago during my journey.
That's really cool and really awesome. Yeah, this is yeah, it's really exciting to see how, everybody starts. Alex, you started 2019, so that's what, like 7 years ago. Jason just started like about 2 years ago or like a year ago, so everybody's in a different place, but that's really, really cool, guys. All right, and the next question. Darian isn't here today, so if Rachel or Alex, if you guys feel comfortable with answering this question, feel free to jump in. But and then Jason, if you don't mind, what does your typical day or week actually look like juggling rotations and content? And this was mainly towards medical students, so Darian and Jason, but Rachel and Alex, if you guys want to talk about your experience during med school as well, that'd be good.
Yeah, so My day or week might be a little different from either Alex or Rachel's because mostly because I'm a student and also because I focus on uploading long form video vlogs on YouTube. And I specifically chose this format because I'm trying to treat this content creation thing as a hobby. School, grades, studying, all that comes first because I need a match, you know. And then I don't know about you guys, but I'm barely getting by, going through rotations and then coming back home, trying to fit in some Anki, fit in some Euro. So I feel like I don't have that much time. And I realize it's almost impossible for me to be consistent in making and uploading these short form videos. So I chose to go with long form vlogs. So, and it's really hard for me to predict what my week's gonna be like, especially because really depends on what service you're on, what residents you're working with. So I usually just try to pick a theme for my vlog, like preparing for the surgery shelf. That was my most recent vlog, or like a time period where I can try to fit in filming my video. And then for my vlogs, I usually film about a week or so here and there. And then if it's a vlog, my day-to-day doesn't isn't too different from my normal days because I'm not doing much and then I'm not filming that much. But I just try to give myself a little more time before or just more time in general. So for example, it's just waking up early to film some getting ready to go to a hospital, all that stuff, just so I can make it in time, even with the video filming. And then as for editing, I think it usually takes me about 12 to 15 hours total, like starting from scratch to uploading for a vlog. So I usually try to pick a weekend where I can just really sit down and focus on editing. And usually ends up being like a long weekend or a weekend after the shelf for sure. And I also try to give myself like a hard deadline. So if not, I've noticed I tend to push back things. Then it ends up being like 2 months after not having posted anything. So yeah, my day to day doesn't really look that different.
Do you oftentimes have trouble thinking of content, especially when you're like on a rotation?
Yeah, all the time. Because I feel like as a student, you're at the hospital, you come back home, study, go back to the hospital, come back home, study. So my day to day is pretty boring, I feel like.
Hmm.
So usually my vlogs are um I try to time my vlogs so I can film when I'm starting a new rotation. So like transitioning from internal medicine to surgery so that there's something new in my life, or just like studying for tests because I think that always works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, and you mentioned 12 to 15 hours of editing. I'm sure that's a lot. And I know some individuals like hire people, I guess, to do the editing for them. And maybe like Rachel and Alex, if you guys have that experience, we can maybe talk about that a little bit. But I'm sure that's quite a bit out of your time, out of your day to do that. So yeah, if for the viewers out there, I think we should appreciate content creators a little bit more in that sense, all the work that they're putting in. So. Um, Rachel or Alex, if you guys are comfortable or would like to answer, feel free to do so. But if not, we can go to the next question.
I just want to bounce off what Jason said because I was in his shoes not too long ago. You know, when I look back at med school, I also thought that my days were boring. You know, studying, going to hospital, working out, studying, going to hospital, working out. But my one of my biggest regrets is not posting during third year of medical school. I like to say that there's only two things I never regret: one, posting a video, and two, working out. So keep making those videos. It's uh, it's my biggest regret not posting any videos during my third year. And if I had a video to look back at, it'd be kind of cool as a resident now, looking back in med school and being like, wow, I remember those days just on the grind to get into the club, get into residency. So um, yeah, keep making those videos. You're crushing it, and yeah, I guess I can comment on this question. Once you get into residency, your time's a little bit more limited. And I've been doing a lot more reflecting recently because I only have my biggest asset right now is my time. So uh, I talked to my mom, and she said, "Do the best you can with what you have." I'm really passionate about research. That was one of my biggest passions during medical school. But I stopped doing research because when I choose a new activity or new target, I put all my force into that. So after about a 12-hour workday at residency, I'll come home, I'll work out, eat some dinner, doom scroll for a little bit, and then I'll probably start editing for about 2 hours every night. So instead of doing 13 hours in one go on a weekend, I do about 2 hours per day. So it evens out to be about 14 hours per week as well. Um, something about content creation too is you don't the amount of time you put in does not equate to virality or the performance of the video or income from the video. So it's really important to enjoy the editing process. So uh, uh, one of the few things I get into flow state is editing, and I don't think I would hire someone to do the editing. I'm a little bit sometimes a little bit particular, but the editing is part of the game. It's part of the journey. So I edit all my own videos.
That's awesome. I'm sure that's a lot of out of your time, especially Alex, in residency. So, Jason, I don't know how you're gonna do it, but I'm sure you'll make the time as well. But yeah, that's very respectable. Yeah, we'll go on to the next question. But what's something people, don't see about the cost of doing both content creation and medicine? And yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts about how it's going with residency and doing content creation on the side as well. And maybe we can start with Rachel, just because Alex just answered.
Sure. Yeah, so something people don't see. I guess I think when I started YouTube and social media, it was like not nearly as huge as it is now. I feel like the idea of like an influencer being like a career was not a thing. Like I literally did not know you could even make money off social media. And so I think some people like go into social media now like with the idea that this could be a career, like this could be a hobby. And I'm not saying that that's like not good. Like it's honestly the financial aspect has been amazing for me. Like it helped me pay for a lot of my rent and things like that when I was in med school. And so that part I'm like not saying I'm not grateful for, but I also would encourage people before starting content creation to really do some soul searching and like understand like why you're kind of creating content and what message you want to share, because I think it's always more rewarding to have like some message or some like values that you kind of want to share with your audience so that they can relate to you more in that way, because I do think that when you're not like completely authentic and you're going into it for like the wrong reasons, it can come across the wrong way. And I think that it's just like a detriment. And like for me at least, like I actually like am not nearly as active on social media as I used to be, unfortunately, due to residency. And it's not because I don't enjoy it, but I will say there is that part of me that has been like grateful taking a step back a little bit too, because there was a point when like I was posting every week and like my views were really high and like I was making more money and I wasn't that happy. Like I think I remember feeling a lot of pressure to please my audience and like make content that other people wanted to see. And I think that stepping away from it a little bit has like helped me to like gain some perspective and like realize like why I started it and why I really love it. And I think we're so lucky. I think like, there's other questions about this and that are coming up, but we're so lucky like as physicians to like have a career that's just like so rewarding like as it is. And I think like that's always like my first priority. But yeah, I feel very lucky to have like a social media platform.
Awesome. And then Alex?
Yeah, Rachel hit on the head. Uh, you really have to choose it for the right reasons, and if the reasons are for fame, money, or materialistic aspects, and I don't see much promise from a longitudinal perspective. I was There are points when you're creating content where you really don't have a good idea of what to do. Maybe you're putting a lot of time into the video and it absolutely flops. Um, and it could be discouraging. So I was messaging this YouTuber. His name is NDMD. He's the one who created the 73 questions, anesthesiologist at Yale. And I was like, hey man, like I'm really struggling right now, like putting all these videos out, and I don't know where the direction is. And he said at the end, he said something that I thought was like so wise. And he said, at the end of the day, it's a long game. You can have virality as a young creator, creating more and more content, chasing that virality. But at the end of the day, when you're 50 years old, you can't think of this game as like something that you're only going to do when you're in your 20s. You have to think like, okay, where's this actually going? Like 30 years from now. So keep the long game in mind. It has to be something that you're truly passionate about. I'm kind of in a rebranding phase as well, where I'm just making different types of videos, seeing what sticks, and I'm doing videos that make me happy or thoughts that are buried in my head that I want to bring out and share with you guys. Or like I said, advice that I wish I had 2 years ago, 8 years ago, that hopefully provides a little bit of comfort in this really long journey. So make sure you do it for the right reasons. And then from the money aspect, the financial aspect, I make about $2 per day off of YouTube, and then Instagram gives me nothing. So uh, I'm not doing it for the financial aspects. I do it for the love of the game and just making more videos. And my grandparents watch my videos. My family does, and especially my cousins who are 8 years younger than I am. So make the videos for them as well as for me.
That's awesome. I think the commonality between Rachel and Alex's answers is that you should do it for the right reasons, do it for reasons that you find authentic and authentic to yourself. And I like what you said, Rachel, soul searching. Just do a little bit soul searching, understand why you're doing it. And I think that's yeah, and that'll, and what Alex is saying, like the long game of things, like do it for something that, you would be proud of in the next 10 years. So I think that's awesome. All right, and then we'll have this next question. But Jason, if you don't mind, maybe answering this question as well, since Darian's not here. Have attendings, classmates, and or family ever questioned what you're doing, and how did you handle it? Maybe we can start with Jason, if you don't mind.
Sure. I usually try to not film in the clinical space just because it's better to be on the safer side, especially because as a student. So I haven't had any attendings ask me what I'm doing, but my family knows what I'm doing, and my classmates, my friends kind of know what I'm doing. Because I when I first started, I used to post the thumbnail for my videos on my personal Instagram. So my friends found out about it first. So there was not really a struggle in that sense. I mean, they were all very encouraging, and yeah, they were the ones getting the views up when I first started. So yeah, there was not much of a struggle I had to handle in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, glad to hear. I know, but when people start, doing content creation, maybe there's like the feeling of like embarrassment, maybe like of starting it off and kind of showcasing your life. Do you ever feel that way, for yourself?
Um, yeah, some at some point I thought like I wish I had not told my friends or my parents about video making just so I could be a little more authentic.
Mm.
But I even when I first started out, I feel like I didn't really feel that cringe or that embarrassment that much because I feel like being true to yourself and then being honest about your feelings and whatever you're going through, I feel like that has meaning in and of itself. So I've always thought of it that way. So I haven't really felt that much embarrassment.
It's awesome. Rachel, what was your experience like?
Yeah, so I think for me, I was pretty open about it like when I started, but it didn't come with like lack of embarrassment for sure. I think like the main thing for me that was really important was that I have like a really close circle. Like my family and my close friends are really, really supportive. And so like I remember even when I had like 10 subscribers, one of them being myself, they were one of those 10. And like even when I was getting like 0 views, like they would watch. And like I had some really embarrassing like videos I think out. Like I had a couple singing videos that are on private now, and like they remember those days. And I think like that's just like the thing that really keeps me going. That like the people that love me will support me no matter what. But at the end of the day, like people will have their opinions on you. I think honestly when I had like the most like clout, like that was when like you get your haters too, and like people will say some whack things like in the comments. I remember like one time during COVID, like I was just like having a good time with my family, and then like I get comments like, oh, like did you gain weight, like different things that I was just like, whoa, like I really just never like and it made me really self-conscious. And I think I've had classmates like in medical school. Like I also like relate to Jason. I felt really shy bringing my camera around because I don't want to be that person that's like she's trying to be an influencer or whatever. And like I had people be like, "Oh, like you have a YouTube channel. You must be really narcissistic," or like people watch you eat on YouTube. Like I had a lot of people like kind of like doubting me, but I honestly think like at the end of the day, a lot of people like will have comments and things to say because they're either like curious about what you do and just don't really understand, and like once you like educate them then they really like do come around to it, or some people are like just projecting because I think these days like a lot of people are kind of like are curious about it, and it feels like maybe like unattainable in some way or another. But um yeah, I think for me, like as long as I have my people to support me, like it's never really been as much of an issue. But I have had periods where I've like had to take a step back because I just feel like I felt like a lot of pressure back then.
Yeah, that's really sad. The people out there, hating on others about things that they are making. I think that's really unfortunate. But I think like from what I'm hearing from Jason and yourself, Rachel, I think it's like people around you, the people who love you are your biggest supporters, and I think they help you kind of get over that huddle, I think, in the beginning. So yeah, for those out there that are trying to start creation, I think content creation, I think that's definitely something to keep in mind. Um, all right, and the next question. So, and this is kind of like an interesting one, right? So, because I think people don't really associate content creation and the skills behind it with medicine as well. But like, what skills do you think, whether however big or small, do you think translate well from content creation to medicine? Alex or Jason, if you guys have any thoughts about that.
Yeah, this one made me think a little bit. I don't think I fully formulated my thoughts around the question. Pretty creative, but I think first one is the first thought that comes to mind is there's going to be moments where you're not motivated. You don't have the right inspiration. You're just feeling tired. It was a long day at clinicals. You don't feel like making a video, and it really brings up the principle of what's the difference between motivation and discipline. Um, uh, like I said, I stopped making videos for a bit, and then when I decided to get back into it, I said, you know what? I'm gonna post every day for a month. And the month that I decided to post was wards. So I was working over 12 hours a day. Um, and I said to myself, I'm gonna work very hard. I'm gonna work out every day, and I'm gonna post a video every day. Um, so I did that for the 30 days. About half the videos flopped and half the videos did okay. And then you get one or two good ones out of it. And you never know which one's going to do well. Sometimes you put your heart and soul into some videos, they perform poorly, and then you put 10 minutes into another video and it does well. And I think overall in that month, that was my biggest growing month, and it was my hardest rotation. So I think it comes down to discipline versus motivation. There's definitely days I didn't want to post, but the discipline kicked in. So very that parallel is very similar to medicine. There's days that you feel unmotivated, you're not doing well on your shelf tests, you get a bad evaluation from a attending, or you just have a poor patient interaction that kind of ruins your day. But at the end of the day, you got to stay disciplined, keep your eyes on the mission, and yeah, showing up consistently, being disciplined will eventually translate over to success, unless you it'll translate over to success as long as you trust the process.
Yeah, that's really cool, actually. I never thought about it that way. Like discipline and keeping yourself accountable through content creation. I think it's definitely translates well into medicine for sure. Jason, any thoughts? And based on your experience in medical school, how has kind of content creation helped you in any way in your life?
Yeah, so I also put some thought into this question. But it might be a little stretch, but you know how it's so hard to keep the attending's attention when you're giving a presentation. I feel like it's even harder for us to keep the audience's attention. So whenever I'm making a video, my clips add up to about like an hour and a half, and then I cut off the fluff. Ends up being like 10, 20, 12 minutes. So it's almost as if I'm picking out like the pertinent positives and negatives, as for when I do my presentations. And I feel like effective communication, it's all about understanding the other side's perspective and what they're kind of expecting of you. Not that you have to be fake or anything to kind of fit that image, but it's important to know what kind of content they're expecting from you, your audience, and then what kind of content they actually enjoy. So it's really hard to do. I still struggle, and as Alex said, if you're putting out like 30 videos, there might be only one or two that actually hit. But understanding the other side's needs is really important. So whenever I'm making these videos, I try to piece these clips together so the flow is a little smooth, and I try to keep it concise and to the point. And I think yeah. And then I try to format my video in a way that it can resonate, I think can resonate with my audience the best. So I think that practice of cutting a 90-minute video into 10 minutes, 12 minutes, and then that organization also helped me kind of get more concise with my presentations. I mean, it's a little bit of a stretch, but yeah.
No, no, not at all. I think that's very actually practical advice. I think I'm a med student as well, and I'm always struggling with my presentations, especially like in the beginning when I'm meeting a new attending at first. Like some are more forgiving, some are less forgiving. So just like getting to the point, I think is really like an important skill you can definitely develop through content creation for sure. So that's actually a really creative answer. And same for you, Alex. I think really good answers, for sure. Um, Awesome. Rachel, any thoughts? Not going to force you to answer this question, but if you had a creative answer as well, I guess.
Mm, I think honestly, Alex and Jason touched on a lot of it. Like, I think for me, like content creation, I think it actually like fires out like so many different parts of your brain, like because you're it's actually so creative. Like I think I really relate to Jason and what he said about like having like kind of like a mental block sometimes when you're so tired and you're trying to think of like what creation or content creation you want to do or like new ideas. It's like really hard to like come up with those things. And I think that that's kind of like the name of the game though in medicine. Like there's always going to be something new, there's always going to be a new problem, there's always going to be like a new patient interaction in a way that you have to empathize with them and really learn how to speak with them and those kinds of things. I think content creation kind of plays into that as well. Like you learn how to like speak to people in a way that they can relate to. And I think that that's super important in medicine because you kind of like underestimate like how personable you kind of have to be as a medical professional to like, really get along with so many different types of people in the workplace.
Sure. For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. We'll move on to, I think this is the last question for our pre-selected questions, but and this is open to everybody here, but do you see content creation as a long-term part of your life? And I know we touched upon it before. I think Alex mentioned like, think about the long game of things. But for you and, this, I guess, hobby of content creation, will it be long-term for you, do you think, or is this more like you want to keep it to, your medical training period of your life? And I'll open it up to anybody who wants to answer first.
So I thought that was a really interesting question that you wrote because this was like an exact replica of an interview question I received on my interview trail for residency, uh, probably like 5 interviews. So at one point in time, I had the answer panned out and tailored, but Yeah, like I said, I think medicine and content creation kind of has an interesting pair because at the end of the day, the foundation is not off of virality when you're younger because you have the ability to continue to expand your medical knowledge and relay that over to the general public. At the end of the day, hopefully, the reason why you choose content creation is to help others, and eventually, we'll find our niches and we'll become experts in our own field, and we'll be able to relay that kind of from like a public health perspective. With that being said, the way I answer this question in my interviews, which is still my mission today, is one reason why I chose ophthalmology is because of the medical mission aspect, the ability to enter another community, perform life-changing procedures, give restore vision to other communities, train other doctors, and then exit the community and then return many more times in the future, as well as learning other surgical skills from different institutions. So the goal, as you guys know, YouTube has the ability to generate income. I hope to um, create more videos of medical mission trips that I go on in the future and use the ad revenue to create a feedback loop to basically fund the next medical mission trip, create another video, and continue to fund. Hopefully, this will um, yeah, create more patrons to donate more, which will create bigger and bigger projects. So that's the long game. That's the 30 years from now mission. But as of right now, it's important to build the foundation, build the skills, build the editing skills, and kind of understand how the algorithm works on a deeper level. So to bounce back what I said earlier, referencing when I was talking about Jason's comment, one of my biggest regrets was not posting during my third year of medical school. The reason why I say that is because this is a long game. The earlier you start, the earlier you plant the seed, the longer you have for the plants and the mission to grow. So when I stopped posting during third year of medical school, I not only just didn't have any growth, I lost a lot of following as well. So it's important to keep it consistent. And the sooner you start, the sooner you'll be able to grow that plant to feed that mission.
Awesome. Rachel or Jason, what are your thoughts?
I can go. When I first got the question or like the slides, and then was thinking about this question, I was originally gonna answer that I just see it just tied to my life as a med student, and I don't really see myself creating content as I go further into residency and um my attending life, mainly because I just didn't know what kind of content I could be creating as a resident and attending. And as I said, like if you're in the hospital most of the days and then just go back home, I didn't think my life outside of the hospital would be too exciting to show to other people. But I feel like being in this panel or this session, I think it changed how I view all of this. So I'm seeing like Rachel and Alex having successful content creation careers even as residents, and piggybacking on what Alex said, being able to make videos to provide positive impact on other people in a bigger scale. I feel like that's great. And if I can grow my account so that I can also do that, I feel like that would be an amazing goal. So I got to put more thought into this. I think I might have to continue doing this, you know?
I'm glad you came out inspired out of this as well.
Yeah, I was inspired.
Awesome. And yeah, I think Alex's goal of using like, funds from his YouTube channel and to support his like causes, I think that those are really noble goals to have for sure as a content creator. And then Rachel, what about you? What's your thoughts on your long-term goals for this?
Yeah, I think like I've definitely pondered this as well. And like I've been in Jason's shoes too, like where I'm kind of just like feeling like, like I wonder where to go from here. But at the same time, I think like for me, I have had different lulls and like different like parts of my life where like YouTube has been a bigger part of my life. And like I felt like it was like my primary thing. I was putting so many hours into it. Just like Jason was saying and like Alex was saying, like they put like hours into like one video. Like one of my like 20-minute videos would sometimes like take me like 30 hours to edit. And like realistically, in residency, I don't have that kind of time. But I think like for me, it's something I'm so grateful for. It's opened a lot of doors for me, and it's also given me a sense of community. Like there's some people that have like followed me since like 2020 and like follow me on Instagram as well, and like will DM me like I'm so proud of you. Like you've helped me get through my eating disorder, or like when I posted my match week video on YouTube, they'll be like, "Wow, like Rachel, I like cried with you." And those kinds of things are actually like really touching because I'm just like, how do you like see someone through a screen, but it's like, they saw you grow through all those phases like with you, and like to know that you have like people supporting you and like you're kind of like doing that for them in a way. I think it's very rewarding. So even if like I'm not as like active on social media during some parts of my life as I used to be, I think it will always be like a really important part of my life because I just like genuinely enjoy like sharing, different phases. But I think to Jason's point, I think, and Alex's point, I think like it's important to have like a goal in mind. And I think manifestation is so real too. So like if you have a goal, like just like see it, visualize it, like and go after it. Cause I think you don't want to like get old and like be like, why did I not like do all this stuff that I wanted to do? So like if you have a dream, then just like try, like why not?
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad I'm sure your followers will be happy to hear that as well. Like the fact that you want to do this long term. And yeah, no, I think it's really like a win-win situation for you guys as well because your followers, people especially who you followed you for a while, like you get touched by it, you get influenced by it as well. So I think it's beneficial for everybody in a sense. But yeah. And then yeah, we're nearing the end of the hour, but we had actually a couple questions from the RSVP form. There's a couple, like a good number of them, but I think these were like the three bigger ones. So this maybe we'll have like one or two people answer per question, just for the sake of time. But for the first question, what keeps you in the field of content creation, especially as a medical trainee right now? And this is for open for anybody.
I feel like going back to Rachel's point, I think the sense of community, the community that's like kind of cheering for me through the screen, I feel like that's what really keeps me in the field of content creation. Yeah, I haven't been doing this for too long, but I have subscribers that have been following me since when I first started. So, and I just like to continue to be connected with them, and then give back whatever I can give back to them, continue inspiring each other. So I think that's the biggest thing.
For sure. Community. Yeah, absolutely. Um, all right. Anybody else? Or we can move on to the next question. All right. And the next question is, do you ever struggle with not being able to, be fully present in the moment due to possible subconscious pressure to create content? And I know, like Jason, you mentioned that you try not to film content, for example, in the clinical space because of that, probably this reason. But have you guys ever felt that kind of subconscious pressure during your rotations or during your clinical shifts during residency? No pressure to answer right now. Maybe we can move on to the next question first, and then, or unless Rachel, yeah.
I mean, I see like Alex thinking. I feel like his wheels are turning. So I didn't want to like interrupt. But I think like for me, like my short answer is just like I definitely have dealt with that in the past. I think especially because my content, what it used to be was like a lot of what I eat in a week. So I'd film like every single thing I ate like for a whole week. And I think at some point I started like getting sick of it because like I just sometimes just wanted to be there with my friends and eat dinner and like not pull out my camera. And like I also like the people I've always gravitated towards like being like really good friends with are typically like not people that are like, Rachel, like are you bringing your camera, like are you gonna film this and this, like so I think like I always felt like a little self-conscious for them, like even though they have always told me like, oh, we don't care, like bring your camera if you want to like make content, that's your thing. But I did like in the past like feel more self-conscious being like I feel like I'm ruining the moment. Because like there is a time and a place, and I feel like if you're always that person that like is filming every single thing, it can be um I don't know, it can interfere, I feel like, with some of your social interactions. So I think you have to be a little tasteful.
For sure. Yeah, I live in New York City, so I see a lot of like influencers out there in the streets filming what they eat and stuff. And I sometimes wonder like do they actually have like a conversation with the person that they bring over? And so yeah, no, I think that's a really good answer. Alex, any thoughts, or we can move on to the next question as well?
You know, I yeah, I don't have much thought. I usually pull out my phone to snap a quick picture of the food and then put it away and enjoy the moment. So it's harder for me to recognize that. But one thing said, just document the journey. You'll look back at it many years from now. I filmed videos during third year of med school, never posted them. And now when I sift through and I'm like, dang, that's what it was like studying for step two. I look back and I laugh. So um, everyone has a nice camera on their phone, so I'd recommend just filming your thoughts just for a second and then put it away to enjoy the moment.
Awesome. And then last question from the RSVP form, and then we'll open it up to anybody here today live. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat, and we can let the panelists answer. But the last question is, how did you overcome the initial cringe or awkwardness? And I know we talked about this near the beginning of the session, but and how did you overcome that overall?
Kind of like a personal response to this that I've been doing a lot of reflecting on. I every once in a while you run into a resident or an attending that you like really look up to and you like respect them so much. So I was talking to this fellow who at one point I was like, you know what, I want to be like you. I want to be as good as you, competent, culturally aware as you one day. And then one day he came up to me and he like put his hand on my shoulder and said, dude, half your videos suck, half of them are cringe. And it made me like close up in a ball. I felt so much blood go to my head, and I stopped posting for that week, even though I promised myself I'd post as much as I possibly could. And after talking to my parents, my best friends about it, and realizing, there's going to be people who think you're cringe, but at the end of the day, that's why this goes back to the mission. What Rachel was saying, you have to create these videos for yourself, and so I make these videos for myself. I make them for my cousins. I make them for my family, and I don't have to appeal to my heroes. So, um, yeah, you're gonna get haters. My parents say about 10% of people are gonna absolutely hate your videos. They're gonna despise you. 10% are gonna love you, support you. Those are your closest friends, and 80% really don't care. And if you really channel that energy, that 90% of the people are really gonna support or not care, then just record the video, record on your camera, post the video, because you'll look back at this. You'll really look back at this at the end of your journey. And medicine is a long journey. You're gonna continue to struggle. You're gonna take more board exams. This rat race never ends. Like I'm still thinking about fellowship at this point, which is ridiculous. So just press play on the video, and uh, I know half my videos are cringe, but the other half, I'm proud of.
Yeah, and you should be. I follow you as well, and I think your videos are great, like very inspiring for sure. And especially for people who are interested in space medicine, I think would very much resonate with your content. So, Rachel or Jason, any last thoughts?
I think I resonate a lot with what Alex said. Like, I think people will have their opinions on what you do. Like, I think at one point I was like posting on my personal Facebook, like when I had like a couple subscribers, like, please watch this video. And like, people will like think it's cringe, but then I'm telling you, like, once you like get some traction and stuff, then like it's funny how opinions change. And like some people that like used to like kind of like look down on you for like doing certain things or like posting certain stuff will then like, respect you a little bit more. But at the end of the day, like it's not for that. I think like you just have to kind of like do whatever you want to do. Like it's your life. I think there have been many times, even still to this day, when I'll like watch myself talking on camera and I'm like, do I really sound like that? And I'll be like, that's, and then I have to like take a break. And that's okay. So I think like I don't know if you ever really overcome the cringe, but I think like Taylor Swift once said, like you have to like embrace the cringe because like that's just what it is. Like you're never gonna like not be cringy and like be doing something new and cool. So
I love the Taylor Swift reference, but yeah, no, that's definitely so true. Everybody lives a cringe life in a sense. Um, all right. And I think Darian just joined. Let me see if he can join us. But we had we had an audience member actually ask a question in the Q&A. Um, let's see. So the person said, "Oh, and so Darian, how are you?"
Guys, for some reason, I had 10 a.m. as the time for our call,
Uh-huh.
which
No
is
worries.
on the flyer as well. So that's my bad. I'm so sorry.
No, no,
Yeah,
you're fine. I know we only have like 5 minutes, but if you
yeah,
wanted
this
to
is crazy.
answer some of these last few
Guys, I'm
questions.
so sorry. Oh my gosh.
No, you're totally fine.
Yeah.
But and I'm glad you are able to join us at least for the picture at the end. So,
Okay.
um,
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. I'm sorry, guys. Anyways, yeah.
you're totally fine. So one of our t audience members is asking, how long does video editing usually take for you guys, and what's your favorite program to use? I know you guys mentioned maybe like 12 to 15 hours or 30 hours on a video, but um, yeah, and what program do you guys use? And maybe I can give Darian a chance to answer this question.
Sure, sure. The only type of content that I usually put out are reels, right? And my reels are usually they're pretty long for around 40 to 50 seconds, maybe a little over a minute. I use Final Cut Pro. And previously, without the help from AI, I would just record my voice separately and then do all the editing myself, which would take around like 2 to 3 hours in total, I guess, excluding the time where I make up the script and all that. And so, yeah, but usually it takes a bit longer just because I procrastinate whilst I'm editing and I'm on YouTube on and off again. And so, yeah, it's really difficult to kind of be diligent with editing, especially just because it doesn't feel like work, to be honest. It feels fun. And so it can like drag out for a longer period of time. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I think that seems similar to what I think Alex said. The editing process should be enjoyable for you as a content creator in order, for this to be like a sustainable thing in the long term. So yeah, I think that that checks out. But anybody else, any programs you guys specifically use for the audience member interested?
I use Premiere Pro just because school pays for Adobe.
Oh,
That's the only
nice.
reason. Yeah.
Yeah, if your school pays for it, use it for sure.
Yeah.
So I started off on Premiere Pro because my school paid for it, and then you start residency and nothing's paid for anymore. But I still pay for now. I pay for Premiere Pro with like the student discount. So Jason, enjoy it while you have it. Save up some money for, or maybe you'll be making some money, so then you reinvest it back in. So that'll work out.
Nice. Rachel, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, just really quickly, I used iMovie for a really long time. So I think like it's very doable to use iMovie like for very simple stuff like when you first start out and then like once I like made more money and stuff like I bought Final Cut Pro, but I know it is like expensive. So it's like a financial thing. So you got to weigh the risks and benefits.
One more thing, just to reflect back on the whole idea or whole takeaway of this thing. If uh yeah, you should invest, right? Like this is a think about it from a 30-year standpoint. Like you're going to be a physician making after your student loans are paid off. So it, yeah, you could start off as a hobby for fun, but if you're in there for the long run, this the return on investment is quite large. So um, yeah, I don't think it matters what you use as long as you dive into it.
Great. Great answers, guys. And I know it's a top of the hour, so we'll conclude it here. I'm so sorry, Darian, you didn't get a chance to answer a lot of
No
these
worries. No, I'm
questions.
the one who should be sorry. Sorry, guys.
Totally fine. But to conclude, we're just gonna take a quick picture with everybody here. If you guys in the audience are willing to turn on your cameras, we'd love to have you and showcase you. This will be on our social media, so keep that in mind. And before I like kind of unshare my screen, but thank you guys for joining. Feel free to follow us on our Instagram, on our YouTube, and our everything. So, but yeah, if you guys are interested in staying involved with KAMSA, feel free to shoot us an email or message us on Instagram. All right, so let me see if I can figure this out with the webinar feature, but let's see. So we'll stop recording.